everyone. Welcome to the language class. So in the very previous class, we were discussing about the poem, The Farmer's Wife, a wonderful feministic poem contributed by Olga, a very celebrated poet. Originally, her contribution, especially to the field of literature, is very exuberant. Basically, she is a Telugu writer where many of her works have been translated to English as well as many other languages. As we were discussing about the very context of the poem, we have already looked into the detailed summarization, detailed introduction about the poem, The Farmer's Wife, in the previous class. The Farmer's Wife, as I said, this is a very wonderful feministic poem contributed by Olga, which speaks about the agony, the frustration, and the challenges of the woman following the suicide of her farmer husband has been well explained. This is a poem, something that also speaks about the changing stereotype, as we've already discussed about it in the very last class. So this poetry makes an attempt to emphasize the very plight of the woman, the plight of the widow of a farmer, where the farmer have been committed a suicide, and obviously she has been left all alone. This unit also makes an attempt to speak about emphasizing about the problems that the Indian farmers are facing, as because of the failure of the crops, as they are unable to clear all the debts that they have taken. So what are the challenges of life they keep facing? We are looking into the very present burning sensational issue, how these farmers have been well harassed, either with invisible or visible sources, how they have always been tackled. Because of these things, how the women, the family of the farmers are keep suffering, and that's well explained here within a wonderful poem, that is The Farmer's Wife. As I've already spoke about it, it's not exactly the poem that speaks about the plight of a farmer. Instead, it emphasizes about the plight, the sufferings and pains of the farmer's wife. Coming on to this also a poetry that emphasizes, that speaks about the concept, the lesson, what we call perseverance. The lesson, the unit teaches, the unit aims to teach us the lessons of perseverance ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಹನೆಯ ಪರಾಕಾಷ್ಠತೆ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಹನೆಯಿಂದ ಜೀವನನ accept ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀವೋ, obviously we could sound successful one or the either day ಅನ್ನೋದು. That's a wonderful message that the poet Olga is making an attempt to convey through this wonderful poem, that is The Farmer's Wife. As I've already said, it's in the form of conversation where the farmer's wife, the widow of a farmer wife, she is addressing to the dead husband who has been lying in front of her, who is dead. She's making an attempt to question. As I said, it's a poetry which has been blend of agony, frustration, have been well explained here with a very emotional touch. That's the poetry, The Farmer's Wife. Please have a look. We'll go with a detailed description. The Farmer's Wife, a poem by Olga. As I said in the beginning itself, the poet, in the sense, the widow addresses to her dead husband, you are virtuous and you are gone. That's a point we emphasize. What's the meaning of a term virtuous? Virtuous is nothing but hailing or high moral standards. Mana maryade ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, we call them as usually virtuous ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Oh ho, my dear husband. Here, mark down, pronoun you refers to her dead husband. She's directly addressing to the dead husband. ಸತ್ತಿರೋ ಗಂಡನ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ, oh my dear husband, you sounds to be so virtuous. ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೆದರ್ಕೋತೀಯ ಮಾನ ಮರಿ. See, I've already explained it in the very previous class. It's a very sarcastically, the beginning line, the first line has been tackled in a very sarcastical manner. She mocks at the very cowardly gesture of her beloved husband. ಹೇಡಿ ತರ ಸತ್ತು ಬಿದ್ದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ನೀನು, you sound to be so virtuous. ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾನ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆಗೆ ಹೆದರ್ಕೋತೀಯ. See, this is called as mocking statement or sarcasm has been created. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವ್ಯಂಗ್ಯ, ಕುಯುಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, that is called as sarcasm. And the synonym word to it is, you can well understand it as what we call ಮಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಕುಯುಕ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು, ವ್ಯಂಗ್ಯ ಮಾಡೋದು, ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಪೋಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನ we usually call it as sarcasm. The beginning line itself seems to be so sarcasm. It sounds so sarcastic. She says, you are virtuous. Who has been called as virtuous? The dead husband has been identified as. She's calling her dead husband as virtuous. Oh my dear husband, you are so virtuous. Mana maryadik tumba ಹೆದರ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದೆ. You had your high moral standards alwa. So high moral standards ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ what is the reflect that you have taken? What's the result? That you are gone. Gone ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋದೆ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. That you committed suicide. You are dead. As you were so virtuous, is it a reason that you committed suicide? You are gone. She says, you are virtuous and you are gone. Poor sinner that I am remain. But in front of all the creditors who had given you the loan, I'm standing in front of them as a sinner. ನಾನು ಪಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದವರು ಅಂತ ಗಮನಿಸ್ತೀರಾ ಆದ್ರಿಂದ I have been the sinner who has been standing in front of the creditors. She says, you here refers to the farmer. Who is the first person who is addressing who is the speaker of the poem? The farmer's wife is the speaker of this wonderful poem. You are virtuous and you are gone. Here pronoun you refers to the farmer. Poor sinner, I am remain. Here poor sinner. Who is a poor sinner? Farmer's wife. She's calling her own self as poor sinner. ಅವಳನ್ನ ಅವಳು ಪಾಪಿ ಅಂತ ಕರ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? Because I'm standing in front of all the creditors. The one who had given credit to you. ಯಾರು ನಿನಗೆ ಲೋನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು, ಈಗ ಅವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ನಾನು ಪಾಪ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಂತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. You just did not care for anything. You left me over. She says, you are virtuous and you are gone. Poor sinner that I am remain. ಯಾರ ಮುಂದೆ? Before your creditors, the one who had given you the credit, I'm standing as a sinner in front of them. Unable to bend your head. As you were so virtuous, as you were unable to bend your head, what is the solution you went on with? You committed suicide. See, unable to bend your head ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಂಗೆ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಸಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. It is here the poet is emphasizing, the speaker is emphasizing about the very stereotypic gesture of male centric mindset. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಸೋದಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರೋದು. As women have been thought ಅಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಗಂಡ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಾ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಹುಷಾರು, ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಬಾ. See, women have always been made to bend her head. It's not the men, because this orthodoxical society have always been pampered boys, pampered men, pampered the birth of the boy child instead of women. So women have always been made to bend head, but it's not the men. See, look at the way she sarcastically comments on, unable to bend your head. ಕತ್ತು ಬಗ್ಸಕ್ ಫಿಸಿಕಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ, ಮಾನ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆದರ್ಕೋತಿದ್ದೆ. adrinda you were unable to bend your head in front of others. In the very next line she says, she's emphasizing that her husband was so proud enough not to beg others or cheat them. So what is the result of that? He committed suicide. So she says that unable to bend your head or stretch out your hand. ನಾನ್ ಗಂಡ್ಸು, ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೈ ಒಡ್ಡೋದೇನು ಅಂತ ಮಾನ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆಗೆ ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಂಡು you did not beg in front of. Unable to bend your head or stretch your hand or sell your crops. You could not do any of the things because you were men. As you were men, you could not do anything out of it, because women have always been treated low compared to men. She says, aha, I respect the virtuousness of this. As you were so virtuous, what is the decision that you took? You just committed suicide without caring for anything. You were unable to bend your head because you were men, or stretch your hand out because you were men, or sell your crops. What is the result? ಈ ಮೂರನ್ನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗದ್ರಿಂದ what is the decision that the farmer took? You crossed over ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? Without caring for anything, without caring for the family, without caring for the children, you just crossed over ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? Without caring for anything, as you were so virtuous, you committed suicide. You met with death. Don't you think? Don't you feel to be ashamed with? She says, unable to bend your head or stretch out your hand or sell your crops. What was the decision that you made? You crossed over. Andreno, you committed suicide without caring for anything. But I was born. But it's not the same way. See, this is called as contrastive ideas. Contrasting ideas have been taken together within this wonderful poem. Male and female combination, a contrast of men and women have been taken up together. Contrast of a boy and a girl child has been compared here together. She says, but it's not the same thing with me. Who was unable to bend the head? It was men. Who was unable to stretch out the hand? It was men. Who was unable to sell the crops? It was men. So what was the result that what is the decision that he took? He crossed over without caring for anything, without caring for the debts that had taken, without caring for the family, the children whom he had given birth. But it's not the same way like me. But I was born with headband. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಲೆ ತಗ್ಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರೋರು. See, this was a very contrastive thing which was taking place in the very earlier days, even many of the places to go ahead with. But she's making an attempt to emphasize the feel and emotions of a woman. This is called as feministic ideology, woman pro. ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಂಫಸೈಸ್ ಗ್ಲೋರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ this poetry has been called, this poetry has been identified as woman women pro poem, feministic poem. She says that, but she's making a beautiful comparative study here. But I was born with a headband. Illi I andaga, it is not only referring to the wife of the farmer. Instead, she is referring to the whole women community. Each and every woman have been born just to bend their head. But I was born with a headband, a hand always outstretched. ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಅಪ್ಪ ಅಮ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಕೈ ಒಡ್ಡಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬೆಳಿತಾ ಬೆಳಿತಾ ಮುಂದೆ ಗಂಡ, ಮುಂದೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. She's always sounded to be dependent on others. She's always considered to be dependent on men. She's making an attempt to emphasize here. But I was born with a headband, hand outstretched. ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗಿಂದ ಕೈ ಚಾಚಿ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ. Not used, not unused to being sold. Women have always been treated like a product, without caring for all the emotions, without caring for all the dreams, the aspirations, whatever that the women have been imbibed with. People does not care her. People does not care for all the emotions, even though she has all the potential, even though she has all the very, very strength that she can survive to go ahead with. Men always treat women low, she says. But I was born with a headband, a hand always outstretched, not unused being sold. Andrenu, without caring for anything, I was sold by my parents to a husband. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ವಯಸ್ಸಲ್ಲೇ ಬೇಗ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. I was unused, not being sold. Knowing all this, did you leave me? Look at the way she questions the dead husband. Knowing all this, Andrenu, she's emphasizing about the helplessness of a woman. Knowing all the helplessness that I was imbibed with, knowing all the very, very helplessness that was with, did you leave me? Why did you think of me before taking such very extreme step? Before committing suicide, why did you not make an attempt to think about the family, the children, the wife where you had turned up with? She questions him, she questions the dead husband and asks, knowing all these, here this referred to knowing all this referred to the helplessness of the woman. She says, she questions a dead husband. She was used to asking others and she was sold. She questions why she was left all alone. Knowing all this, knowing all my helplessness, ಯಾವ helplessness, born with headband, hand always outstretched, not unused to being sold. Looking at all my helplessness, how did you leave me? How did you take such an extreme step? How did you commit suicide? She makes an attempt to question her dead husband. Knowing all this, did you leave me? You found release with poison. Wow, to be appreciated. You are so virtuous, Allah. ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾನ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆಗೆ ಹೆದರ್ಕೋತೀಯ ಅಲ್ಲ. You found release. Release ಅಂದ್ರೇನು? You found salvation. You found solution for the very, very temporary problem that you faced with. How? By committing suicide. You found release with poison. ಒಂಚೂರು ವಿಷ ತಗೊಂಡು ನೀನು you found release. You found salvation. It is not only that, even though you have taken poison, it's not only that you took a poison, poisoning my bitter existence. This is a wonderful line, a very, very punching line of the poem, heart of this poem. You did not only poison your life, poisoning my bitter existence. And you all know it very well. The word existence, the word living carries a very it carries a very great weightage. Existence, ಪ್ರಾಣಿನೂ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, ಪಕ್ಷಿನೂ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ, Insects exist agate. Adre, when we obviously refer to or consider to human beings, we don't say that I'm existing annalla. ಯಾವುದೇ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇಮೋಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಪ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡೌನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ದಲೆ ಬದುಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಫರ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಎಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್. ಆದ್ರೆ ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲಿ ಎಂಫಸೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಹೌ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಟ್ರೀಟೆಡ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, how I was always made to bow my head, how I was always made to bend my head, how I was always made to stretch my hand. You did not only poison your life, poisoning my bitter existence. ಮೊದಲೇ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. My life did not carry any value all these days. Even though I had greater potential, I was always made to bow my head and surrender oneself, surrendering everything, whatever that I thought that it could be mine. You did not only poison your life, ಪಾಯ್ಸನಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಬಿಟ್ಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್. ಬರೀ ಹಂಗು ಹಿಂಗು ಬದುಕ್ತಿದ್ದೆ, ಆ ಬದುಕ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದದ್ದಕ್ಕೂ ವಿಷ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲ, ಯು ಸ್ಪಾಯ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಮೈ ಹೋಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೋರ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೋಯಮ್. You found release with poison. It's not only that you poisoned your life, poisoning my bitter existence, you also poisoned my existence itself. In the very next line, she beautifully makes an attempt to give a very psychological, punching line. The cotton crop is but yesterday's. Nenne crop failure ಆಯ್ತು, ಓಕೆ ಡನ್, ಮುಂದಿನ ವರ್ಷ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆ ಬರ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ವಾ. The cotton crop is but yesterday's. She's beautifully making an attempt to realize it. She's giving a message. She's making an attempt to give message through this line. For all temporary problems, we are not supposed to find the permanent solution which could end like this. Not only poison, they just poison themselves, they'll also poison the life of the whole family members. The cotton crop is but yesterday's. How about the family? But our family, it is something which goes for a long way. How often have I drowned in it? ಸಂಸಾರ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸಾಗರ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ is like, which has always been compared to a big sea. It's a very long journey to be gone together. It should go together. How often have I drowned in it? ಸಂಸಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾನು ಮುಳುಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟಪಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. How I suffered a lot. How often have I drowned in it? How many times? How many times have I escaped it? Don't you think that ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ನನಗೂ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಕಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನಿಸ್ತಿತ್ತು, but I did not do it. I did not such a stand. I did not take such a stand in my life. I did not make my mind to go with taking up such an extreme step. But our family, how often have I drowned in it? How many times have I escaped it? ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ನಿನ್ನನ್ನ ನೆನಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು I just came back. I thought that I should not die. I should leave for my husband. I should leave for my children. I just thought. I did not commit suicide. How many times have I escaped death? Whether you abused or reviled me. Here the word abuse is nothing but something that speaks about a very unuttering manner. That's called as abusing. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೋವಾಗೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನ, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಅಬ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ರಿವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಶಿ ಯೂಸಸ್ ದೀಸ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಎಂಫಸೈಸ್ ದ ಡೆಪ್ತ್. Many a times, whenever you abuse me, whenever you hurt me socially, physically, emotionally, psychologically, ಎಷ್ಟು ಹರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಬ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಸತಿ ರಿವೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ರಿವೈಲಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ. ನೀನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೈದ್ರು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊಡೆದ್ರು, ಐ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಥಾಟ್ this is how men live. As this is male dominated society, whatever you people do, okay fine, it's we are supposed to accept it. I respected even though you abused me. She beautifully says, how often have I drowned in it? How many times have I escaped death? Whether you abused or reviled me. Abusing ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು, ಬೈಯೋದು, ರೈಟ್. ರಿವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು. Even though many a times you abused or reviled me, whenever I was kicked me, you have kicked me many a times. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕುಡ್ಕೊಂಬಂದು ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಒದ್ದು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ I respected you. I thought that he is but a man. Man can do anything and everything. It's not the women who can do. So whenever you kicked me, whenever you were drunk, I always thought, ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ಲಂತೆ ಏನಂತ, I thought he is but a man. Man can do anything and everything. It's not the women who have to go with. I always thought he is but a man. Little did I dream you would deal me a death blow like this. The only thing where I had aspired, the only thing what I had kept in my mind is, Yene kashta kotru kuda, he's a man, he'll take good care of me. That was the oath that you had taken when you were married to me. Little did I dream you would deal with. But I never expected that you will give me such a death blow like this. See, look at the line at the end, there is an exclamatory mark over there. It is so shocking that I cannot digest the very, very hard truth. What is the hard truth that had taken place? That the husband had committed suicide. The one who had kept oaths of taking care of the family without caring for all the emotions, without caring for the children, without caring for the family, he has committed a suicide. So I could not bear this death blow. ನನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಬೈದಿದ್ರು, I would have accepted it. But how could you do such thing? It is a death blow which is so undigestible. I cannot digest with this very, very truth. I'm unable to get digest with this hard reality of life. How did you do this to me? I wouldn't have expected from you. She poses a question here. So this is a very punching line. There are very important aspects to be emphasized here with. She's saying that, she's emphasizing that, how can you do such things? How did you leave me? Knowing all my helplessness, you committed suicide. Looking at that, how I had suffered a lot, you did not care even for the very basic emotions. I, many a times, I felt like I need to commit suicide, but I did not do because I thought of you and children. I thought of the family, but without caring for anything. How did you give me such a hard reality to accept? How did you make an attempt to give me such a very, very death blow, which is undigestible? In the very next upcoming line, she explains and says, True, I accept. Kashta ellar ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Each and everyone should obviously face the problems of life, but it will be for a short time. True, I accept. The crop was gone. Crop failure ಆಯ್ತು, ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ದುಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಲ ಆಗಿದೆ. I know that you have suffered a lot. True, the crop was gone. The debt remained. ಸಾಲ ಇನ್ನು ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. I know that. Our dignity hit the dust. See, look at this is a metaphor that has been well explained. Lots of metaphors and personification have been imbibed here within this wonderful poetry. She says that dignity hit in the dust andre no mana mariyade ella ಗಾಳಿಲಿ ತೂರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಯ್ತು. See, it's a very colloquial usage where we usually go with Allah. So this is what was hit in the dust. The dignity was hit. Can you literally hit the dignity in the dust? You can't do it. This is a metaphor and a personified metaphor. Our dignity hit the dust. Mana mariyadella ಬೀದಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನಿಂತಿದೆ. Our hearts turn to water. She is personifying. Our hearts turn to water ಅಂದ್ರೇನು, ರಕ್ತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿ ನೀರ್ ತರ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ she is emphasizing about the pains and sufferings. Our dignity hit the dust, which is a metaphor. Our hearts turn to water. Can you well imagine a heart turning out to a water, which is not possible? This is personified. The plight of a widow has been well expressed here. The comment, she makes an attempt to commend the farmer who has left her all alone to share the burden. The one who was not ready to share the burdens of life had left her all alone and moved on. She says that, true, I accept the crop was gone. The debt and sala, the debt remained. Our dignity hit the dust, which is a metaphor. Our hearts turned to water, personification. But how did you imagine? How did you imagine my back would bear the burden of 4 children? How many children she had? She's beautifully emphasizing she had 4 children. ನಾಲ್ಕು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೊರಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲ. How did you take such a decision without caring for the family? How did you imagine my back would bear the burden of 4 children? ನನ್ನ ಬೆನ್ನ ಹಿಂದೆ 4 ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ. Didn't you ever thought that how she will take care of all the children? My back would bear the burden of 4 children. How many children they had? They had 4 children. You saw. What did he saw? What did the farmer saw here? Pronoun you refers to the farmer. You saw your crop destroyed. What of the harvest of my womb? Look at the beauty of a language that has been well coined here. Illi harvest of my womb refers to 4 children. Mark down. The harvest of my womb refers to 4 children. She wonders and poses questions. She wonders how she could bear the burden of 4 children. My back would bear the 4 children anta hege ankonde neenu? How did you decide it? How did you think? She wonders and she poses a question asking, How did you think that I would bear the burden of 4 children? You saw your crop destroyed. Crop hoitu and takshna, see the like a covered, you went and committed suicide. What about harvest of my womb? Harvest of my womb andreno, she is referring to 4 children. What of the harvest of my womb? She wonders. Can I leave them to the wind? What does this exactly refer to? There's a beautiful blend of both metaphor and personification here. Can I leave them to the wind? Makkalan gali toor bittu bidla. Something which cannot be obviously done. Allah. Makkalan hange uff anta galig bidakagala. This is a personified metaphor. Can I leave the children? Makkalan bidil bisaki nanu suicide ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಾ? But I can't do it because I'm not like you. I cannot be a coward like you. I'm ready to face the challenges of life, but I cannot commit suicide like you. She says that. Can I leave them? Them refers to 4 children. Can I leave them to the wind? It is very easy to die, but it is very difficult to deal with the life's problems. Kashtagal bandaga, we should not get scared of the problems of life. Instead, we should be optimistic. We should make our mind to face the challenges of life. Another, that's a very, very elevated thought that the farmer's wife, the widow of a farmer, is making an attempt to reflect through this wonderful poem. She says that, can I leave the children to the wind? Hege, like the worm eaten cotton pods, look at the beauty of language. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅನ್ರೈಪ್ ಕಾಟನ್ ಶೆಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ. ಹುಳ ತಿಂದಿರೋ ಜೀವನದ ತರ ನಮ್ದು ಅರ್ಧಂಬರ್ಧ ಜೀವನ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಐ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಲೀವ್ ಮೈ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟು ದ ವೆಂಡ್. ಹೇಗೆ? ಲೈಕ್, ಯು ನೋ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆಲ್, ವೇರ್ ಎವರ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸಿಮಿಲಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಪರ್ಸಾನಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮೆಟಾಫರ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ವರ್ಮ್ ಈಟನ್ ಕಾಟನ್ ಪಾಡ್, ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ವರ್ಮ್ ಈಟನ್ ಕಾಟನ್ ಪಾಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ simile. Mark down, that is a simile. Simile is nothing but a direct comparison. Metaphor is indirect comparison. Simile andaga, the best example is, when I went to the battlefield, he was fighting hege, like a lion, simhada hage. See, we are making a direct comparison. Hege fight ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ? ಸಿಂಹದ ಹಾಗೆ. It's a direct comparison. But if you want to coin it to be a metaphor ಹೇಳುವಾಗ, when I went to the battlefield, he himself was a lion. He was a lion. ಅವನೇ ಸಿಂಹ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ. That is indirect comparison. So indirect comparison is a metaphor and direct comparison is a simile. Here she is making an attempt to take a preference of a simile and chase. ಜೀವನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹುಳು ತಿಂದಿರೋ ಜೀವನ ತರ ಅರ್ಧಂಬರ್ಧ ತಿಂದ ಅರ್ಧ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರತ್ತೆ, ಏನಕ್ಕೂ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Life should not get wasted like that. Like a worm eaten cotton pod, life should not sound to be like unripe cotton shell. It is easy to die, but to obviously develop a life is a very tedious task. It's a very difficult task. It takes a moment to die. ಸತ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಸಾಕು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಜೀವನನ ಕಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ it takes lots of struggle. We have to face all the challenges of life. ಕಷ್ಟಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳನ್ನ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ how man could become perfect ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ she is emphasizing on the very courageous thought. Life should not be wasted. How? Like a worm eaten cotton pods, it just takes a moment to die. It's just a moment where if I think that I need to die, it takes a moment to commit suicide. But open your mouth and ask. Open your mouth and ask, what of this? Why is this? She's emphasizing, see, these 2 questions, what of these? Why of these? Anuvaga, the farmer's wife, the widow of a farmer, she is expressing her helplessness through this usage. Open your mouth and ask. ಎದ್ದೇಳು, I need answer for all these things. You open your mouth and ask, what of this? Why of this? ಕೊನೆಗೆ, as she could not find any answer from her dead husband, she herself says and concludes, needs a firm heart. Yes, I know it well. You are so coward. You are a coward. You don't answer to any of my questions. Needs a firm heart. I cannot commit suicide like you. It needs a firm heart to me to face all these struggles. Needs a firm heart. ಯಾಕೆ ಮನಸ್ಸನ್ನ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು? See, all of a sudden there is a twist in a thought. All of a sudden there is a very transitional change in the thought. She says, needs a firm heart to face all difficulties of life. ನಿನಗೆ ಯೋಗ್ಯತೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಸತ್ ಹೋದೆ, but it's not me. I am not a coward like you. ಯಾಕೆ? I have to live my life. Why? To teach my children. She at last makes an attempt to declare that she will teach her children not to commit suicide, not to behave like a coward if one cannot face the life. One cannot face the challenges of life. ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳನ್ನ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸತ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ಧೈರ್ಯದಿಂದ ಎದುರಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ I have to leave. If I have to leave, how should be my life? I should have a very, very courageous heart. I have to make my heart firm. All of a sudden, there's a twist in a thought. Needs a firm heart. Why does she need a firm heart? To teach my children. What she want to teach? To teach my children to clench a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದ್ ಹಿಡಿ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ಲೆಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೈನ to clenching the fist is, see, whenever we feel helpless, we always we clench the fist ಅಲ್ಲ, this is ನೆಟ್ಗೆ ತೆಕ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, it is a representation of helplessness. I want to teach my children not to clench the fist, not merely for a handful of rice. Just for a handful of rice, I never want to make my children to feel helpless. I will leave. I'll obviously develop a firm heart, even though you have left me all alone, even though you have made me to be like a sinner in front of the creditors. But still, I'll make my heart strong. I'll make my heart so firm so that I could leave and teach my children not to clench their fist because of helplessness, as they were unable to get just a fistful of rice. ತಿನ್ನಕ್ ಒಂದ್ ಹೊತ್ತು ಊಟ ಸಿಕ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಸಹಾಯಕರಾಗಿ, do not ever make an attempt to commit suicide. You have to live, you have to face the challenges, you have to face the ups and downs of life ಅನ್ನೋದು. That's a wonderful message that the wife of a farmer, the widow of a farmer, is making an attempt to emphasize here within this beautiful poem. She says that, open your mouth and ask, what of this? Why is this? In the concluding lines, she says, no, I know that well. You don't obviously get up and answer to all my questions. You will never make it. You have never made it earlier. Needs a firm heart. It's the time where I should not feel helpless. I should make my heart strong. I should make my heart strong. I should have a very courageous, brave heart to face the challenges of life. Needs a firm heart. Why she is in need of a firm heart? To teach my children. What does she need to teach the children? To teach my children to clench a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದ್ ಹಿಡಿ ಅಕ್ಕಿ, ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದ್ ಹಿಡಿ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಸಹಾಯಕರಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಕೈ ಒಡ್ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಫೀಲ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಫಾರ್ ದಾಟ್ ರೀಸನ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ ಸೂಸೈಡ್. ಜೀವನದ ಕಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಮನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು 2 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಲಿವ್ ಮೈ ಲೈಫ್. Even though I meet with lots of challenges, obstacles, hurdles, I will lead my life and guide my children not to be a coward like you. You should never be set as a role model to my children. For that reason, I will live my life and teach them the lessons of bravery. But in battle, what is a battle? Is she going for a fighting? Yes. Life itself is a battle. That's again a metaphor here. Battle and life is indirect comparison. But in battle of life itself is a battle. We'll be keep on facing all the ups and downs. We keep on obviously moving on with joys and sorrows together. That because life itself is a battle, so which is loaded with lots of challenges. But in battle, I must live, I must embrace life and not death. That's a wonderful conclusion. She's holding closely, embarrassing andrenu, to hold closely someone in someone's arms. See here, she's making an attempt to beautifully coin out the sign of affection, acceptance. It is something where she is emphasizing about the superior authority. She says, it's not a time to commit suicide like a coward. I must embrace to hug, to hold someone in a very one's arm, to embrace life, not death. It's not time to go with the death. Instead, I have to learn to face all the challenges of life, embrace life, and the struggle for life is the wonderful thought. Translated by Vasanta Kannabiran from Telugu poem Chavuni Kadu Badukuni. Chavuni Kadu Batukuni is not death but life. It's a wonderful thing that has been discussed here within this wonderful poem. That's an end of the poetry, The Farmer's Wife by Olga. We have to always embrace life. We have to always be open oneself to accept all the pains and sorrows or happiness together. Sukha dukkhe same kritva. That's what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. If you're able to balance your mind with all happiness and sorrows together, you can lead a very successful life. ಕಷ್ಟಗಳು ಇವತ್ತಿರತ್ತೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೋಗತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳು ಬಂದಾಗ how bravely you accept things. One fine day, obviously, it will not be permanent. The pains will not be either permanent. The happiness will not be either permanent. So it is nothing but the phases of life. We have to learn to accept. We have to learn to embrace life, and life is obviously with lots of struggle. So struggle of life and accept ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವಾಗ ಜೀವನ ಹೇಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ accept ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ life will be so happier ಅನ್ನೋದು. That's a wonderful message that's coined out by a celebrated poet, Olga. That's a beautiful poem, The Farmer's Wife by Olga, original name P. Lalita Kumari. So with this introduction, we are done with the poetry, The Farmer's Wife. Please have a look into the questions and answers. Look into the comprehension one. What do pronoun you refer in the poem? You refers to the farmer and I in the poem refers to farmer's wife. Question number one, you refers to the farmer and I refer to the farmer's wife. Question two, why has the speaker's husband committed suicide? Why did the speaker's husband committed suicide? Please write it down. Take down the answer. As he was unable to clear the debts. As he was unable to clear the debts. You have to pronounce it as debts, not debt anbardu. B is mute. B is silent. As he was unable to clear the debts, salana ತೀರ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗ್ದಲೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರಿಂದ he committed suicide. As he was unable to clear the debts. Question number 3. What series of contrast does the speaker draw between herself and her husband? Please take down. Poor sinner versus virtuous. Head bent versus head not bent. Hands outstretched versus hands not outstretched. So these are the two contrast extremities that has been referred in the poem. Question number 4. What expressions in the poem bring out the contrast between the speaker and her husband's plight? What is the expressions in the poem that brings out the contrast in between the speaker and her poem in the husband's plight? You have it in the very, very third line. Third line of your very first stanza, you have a beautiful contrast that has been taken up. That is, unable to bend your head, hands stretch out, sell your crops. Question number 5. Question number 4 continued with, what difference does it indicate that male have been dominated? So in this system, male domination bagge this poetry has been emphasized. How women have always been made to feel down anodu, that is what the poetry make an attempt to express. Question number 5. The farmer's wife in the poem is choice A, complaining about her husband's death. She's not exactly complaining about her husband's death. Choice B, lamenting the death of her husband. Yes, she's feeling so painful because he had left her in a very, very helpless situation. Answer 2, B, lamenting the death of her husband. C, angry that her husband has left her. She's not angry that he had left her. D, bitter about her husband's act. Not exactly. E, worried about the future. Not exactly. Or else all the above. All are relevant, but very apt answer is she's lamenting. She's feeling so painful that looking at the death of her husband. D as well as F. You can also consider F as the whole. Question number 6. What memories of her husband trouble her now? How many times, how often I have to face all these challenges? That is the memory of her husband. See, you have an answer here within page number 83. How many times have I escaped death? Whether you abused or reviled me, kicked me when you were drunk, I always thought he is but a man. Little did I dream you would deal me with a death blow like this. These are the lines that you need to write it down for the question. These are the memories. Even though you abused and kicked, even though you reviled me, I did not commit suicide. Page number 83, last 5 lines is an answer for this question number 6. Question number 7. What does the phrase harvest of my room suggest? What does the phrase harvest of my room suggest? It suggests referring to 4 children. Harvest of my womb refers to 4 children. Why is their plight? Plight andrenu pains and sufferings. Why is their plight compared to worm-eaten cotton pods? Worm-eaten cotton pods andre had lost their father. We have become so helpless ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತದೆ. ನೀನಿಲ್ದಲೆ our family is incomplete ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ it has been referred to. It has been worm-eaten cotton pod refers to that they have lost the children have lost their father. Question number 8. To what condition had her husband's act of committing suicide pushed her? Answer is dignity hit in dust, hearts turned to water. I repeat, question number 8 ge answer dignity hit the dust. Dignity hit the dust, hearts turned to water. Question number 9. The poem ends with an assertion, a deep sense of failure and despondency. No. C. A will to survive against all odds. Yes. The answer is C for question number 9. Enadu will to survive against all odds. So this is a point to be well explained, the theme of this exact poem. Coming on to question number, second main questions. Many times the tone suggests the attitude of the speaker. What kind of attitudes are suggested by the words? Virtuous ಅನ್ನೋದು, it speaks about the sarcastic tone. Poor sin ಅನ್ನೋದು repentance. He is but a man ಅನ್ನೋದು dominance of male or male centric society. So you have to take down these references. Virtuous has been sarcastically commented. Poor sinner has been commented in a very depressed mood. He is but a man ಅನ್ನೋದು, it is emphasizing about male centered society. Question 2. What kind of questions does the poem raise about in the plight of the farmers' widows? Do you think that these questions are only addressed to the speaker's dead husband? No, not exactly. It has been addressed to the speaker's dead husband. Instead, it has also been referred to all the one who take up such very cowardly strands. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಈ ತರ ಕವರ್ಡ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೋತಾರೆ, this beautiful thought has been referred as, she works as a voice for this poetry. She works as a voice for the message, what she wants to convey through the whole people or the readers. So with this, hereby we can conclude a poem, a wonderful heart-touching poem, The Farmer's Wife by Olga. So notes will be uploaded. Please write down the summary as well as answer all first and second main questions in your notebook and be ready with it. Done? Hereby, that's an end for your course book reflections of first year PUC. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.